Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program we will chat with Quincy School Committee Vice Chairman Anthony Andronico. First though, we'll check out the weather and the news for you this morning. Currently in Quincy, it is gorgeous, brilliant sunshine. We are already at 64 degrees, headed for near 70. Lots of sunshine, spring fever going on this afternoon. Nowhere near the record high of 77 degrees that was set 4 years ago, but still pretty darn nice for the middle of March here. It'll cool off tonight, not much though, down to the upper 40s. It'll stay pretty mild for most of the week. Could see some evening showers tomorrow, otherwise just cloudy, still pretty warm in the mid 60s. Still pretty nice for Wednesday, abundant sunshine, a little cooler, highs in the lower 50s, and pleasant on Thursday with sun and clouds, highs Thursday in the mid 50s. Again, sunny and 64 degrees in Quincy right now. In the news today, Quincy Health Commissioner Ruth Jones says there are no confirmed cases of coronavirus here in Quincy. Jones says a handful of people are in self-quarantine because of their recent travels. However, she urges people to take precautions without panicking.
And I like to keep this in perspective. I think some of the numbers you had given out earlier that globally cases of coronavirus throughout the world are around 98,000. In the United States, there's 32 million, not thousand, cases of influenza just in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I like to keep those numbers in a comparison because you have to keep things in a perspective.
Right. Yeah.
And coronavirus is very similar to other viruses that we've had, including influenza. So the measures that you're taking to avoid influenza are going to help you if there were coronavirus there.
Jones says if a case of coronavirus does show up in Quincy, she will be notified by the state and in turn would notify the city. Jones is set to provide an update at tonight's Quincy City Council meeting. She spoke to the Quincy School Committee last week. The Adams National Historical Park here in Quincy will open later and close earlier than usual this year. The National Park Service says the park will open on May 1st and close on October 31st. In years past, the park has opened for the season on Patriots' Day weekend in April and then closed on Veterans Day in November. Park officials say a lack of staffing is forcing the later opening and earlier closing times. When the park does open, it will be open 7 days a week from 9:15 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. with tours of the Adams Mansion on Adams Street and the birthplaces on Franklin Street, all departing from the Visitor Center in Quincy Center. The North Quincy branch of the Thomas Crane Public Library should be reopening in about 3 months. Ward 6 City Councilor Bill Harris says concerns about asbestos and mold have delayed the renovation project.
He literally took everything out of it.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
whether it's some of the books were preserved, I think everything was basically tested and
Sure.
So right now it says on the website, which is a great website, the Thomas Crane Library website, it gives you updates of everything that's going on. And in fact, Paul Hines, who's in charge of buildings, he actually gave a presentation on last Monday as well.
Right.
On certain things that were being done in different buildings.
Yes.
And that building, of course, was mentioned, and hopefully it'll be early summer at the latest.
Okay.
Because it really is a gem of a building. It's accessible.
Improvements to the building include a new roof, new ceilings, flooring, carpeting, new lighting fixtures, and some other electrical upgrades, and a new interior lift to provide access to the upper and lower levels. The project began in August of last year. Fallon Ambulance Service is joining the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office in offering special seatbelt covers to help identify people with autism. The seatbelt covers are designed to alert first responders that a victim in an emergency may be resistant to help due to their autism and that they may need specialized care. Recently, the Sheriff's Office distributed those covers to the Quincy Police Department for distribution to the public, and Fallon Ambulance will soon be doing the same thing. The Sheriff's Office is also working with the Flutie Foundation, the ARC of Massachusetts, and Autism Speaks on those seatbelt cover programs. Now that you're up to date with weather and news, let's check out our programming lineup for you for later on today here on Quincy Access Television. Starts with a replay of this program currently in Quincy today at 5 o'clock. 5:30 from the Family Winterfest celebration this year, the Puppet Showplace Theater. Then at 6 o'clock from the Winterfest, the 215th Army Band Ensemble. Finally, at 7 o'clock, the new band and the Van Burens from Winterfest. Tonight at 8 on AM Quincy, you can see that full interview with Ruth Jones on the coronavirus. 8:30, North Quincy versus Roxbury Prep girls basketball from February the 20th.
No eye contact made there.
Now here's a map of Bridgewater.
The Thomas Crane Public Library presents Sacco and Vanzetti 100 years later tonight at 9:40 p.m.
Load up the truck.
And at 11 o'clock on Channel 8, Democracy Now! Please watch Channel 9 every day. There you'll learn about Quincy City Departments, different committee activities. Starts at 5:30 with Quincy in Focus. AM Quincy at 6 p.m. with Ruth Jones and a coronavirus update. And tonight's City Council meeting is live from City Hall beginning at 6:30 with the Finance Committee, public hearings, and then the full City Council meeting. Get a complete program schedule on our website, which is qatv.org. When you get there, click on Program Schedule. And do please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Don't forget, too, our weekly ad on the Quincy Sun. Take a check of some of the current events and activities that are featured on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information coming up in just 1 minute. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here is a check of some of the current events and activities that we're showing on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information. Quincy Community Action Programs is offering free English classes at their Quincy Center headquarters. It's a 20-week program that begins on March 30th, and an information session is being held tomorrow. Visit qcap.org or give them a call at 617-657-5368 for all the details. Quincy Emergency Management Agency is offering training courses on emergency preparedness. 8 weekly sessions will be held on Wednesday evenings, starting this Wednesday right through the 29th. Call 617-376-1105 for more information. An informational meeting to form a Legion Auxiliary will be held at the Nickerson Post in Squantum. This is March 21st at 11 a.m. All spouses and relatives of veterans are welcome to join. You can call 617-328-9824 for more information. And bingo callers are needed at the Hausneck Community Center on Mondays and Wednesdays from 12:15 to 2:30. Give Cynthia Lewis a call at 617-376-1385 for more information. And if you have an event or activity you'd like to promote, visit our website, qatv.org. Download a bulletin board request form. Just fill it out and send it in. We'll get your message up here on Channel 8 too. Coming up, we sit down with Quincy School Committee Vice Chairman Anthony Andronico next. Welcome back. We're so pleased to welcome to the program for the first time, but not the last, Quincy School Committee Vice Chair Anthony Andronico to let us know what's happening in the Quincy Public School System and in the Quincy School Committee. So Anthony, great to meet you.
Thanks for having me on. I really
Sure.
appreciate it. I know it's It's been 2 years now since I've been elected, and
Wow.
I'm really pleased to be here and provide an update for the people of Quincy.
Yeah, this is great. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, everybody has an interest in the school system, whether
Yep.
they have kids in it or not,
Right.
because it impacts everybody.
It affects everyone in the community, whether you have kids, you plan to have kids, or you don't plan to have kids.
Yeah.
It affects home values. It affects the type of people that you attract, and I think most importantly, the types of individuals that you go out and you produce into your society.
Sure. So you are now vice chair, as I mentioned. Congratulations, I guess,
Thank you.
are in order. How did that come to be?
So, the first 2 years were really about learning and making sure I understood the ropes behind the scenes. My daytime job, I work up at the State House, so I've had a pretty good understanding of how policy works and how policy trickles down to the local level. And I've had some really great mentors and colleagues on the school committee that have been able to get me to this point. And I felt like I wanted to take on a more of a leadership role, and my colleagues agreed, thankfully. And
Unanimously, we should
and
point out.
Yes, they
Yes.
unanimously agreed that I'd be best suited to lead us forward over the next 2 years.
Sure.
And I have big shoes to fill, filling in for former vice chair Emily Lebo. She set a great example, and I work really hard to make sure I live up to the standard she set.
A lifelong educator.
Oh, yes,
Emily.
absolutely.
Yeah. You mentioned you work at the State House. For folks who don't know, what
Yes.
do you do? Yeah.
So I'm the communications director for the Weymouth State Senator. So I deal a lot with South Shore issues and things like climate change, or most recently, the Student Opportunity Act. My boss was on the conference committee that produced the final version of that bill that affects directly the work I do on the school committee. So that was an incredibly insightful time for me as well.
Okay. How will the kind of new education funding formula impact the Quincy Public Schools,
Yeah.
Anthony?
So the way that the funding formula is working, essentially the Student Opportunity Act is pumping in an additional $1.5 billion over the next 7 years on top of what regular step increases would be. And of that, for this next fiscal year, Quincy should expect to receive just over $6 million more per year on top of what the state was already contributing. It's based off of the funding formula that takes into account English learners, special education students, property home values, and low-income students. And effectively, we'll be able to use that new chunk of money towards educational programs in Quincy, and I'm really excited for it.
Is anything, kind of earmarked already for that money?
I would say nothing is specifically earmarked. In
Okay.
addition to being vice chair, I'm also the chair of the budget committee.
Oh.
So that'll be, our discussions will be ongoing in the coming months to make sure the budget is sound. But I mean, one of the investments that we're certainly looking forward to is the new Special Education Learning Center.
Yes.
We took a vote on the school committee and on the city council. No elected official took a no vote to move that forward. And really the Special Education Learning Center is about making sure that every student, regardless of their ability, is able to receive an education in their hometown. It's something that I was able to have. I went to Wollaston Central and North Quincy High School.
Okay.
And it's just about making sure that everyone has that opportunity.
Okay. Where does that project stand right now? Has the city actually purchased that building yet?
My understanding is that it has been purchased.
okay.
So for those that don't know, the space is right behind the current Central Middle School across from Veterans Memorial Stadium. So it's in a central location in the city. I believe the purchase price, including renovation costs, is about $8.5 million.
That's what the mayor's quoted.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to tour the space. I mean, those 3 floors, it's already built out for classroom spaces. It just needs a refresh and an update and just an update to make sure that the space makes sense for special education
Right.
students and their families, most
Yeah.
importantly. So where that project stands right now, we're looking at having a sort of a soft opening in the summer of 2021.
Okay.
So next summer, not
Yep.
this upcoming summer, the summer after, so that students and our families have the opportunity to have a soft opening, better understand what the school is, what programs are available, and then have a nice transition into the school year in the fall of 2021.
Okay.
And we're actually having a meeting, the special education design team, on the 16th,
Okay.
just to talk about
Of this month, right?
Of this month,
Okay.
yes, March 16th.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we're on track. And 2 days later, on the school committee's March 18th meeting, we're going to have a full presentation about the Special Education Learning Center, where it stands, and people have a lot of questions, and
Yes.
deservedly so. I know when this was originally announced, the mayor had said, well, maybe we'll have this open in fall 2020, and people were really shocked about
Yes,
that, some of
yeah.
my colleagues, and myself included.
I think the mayor's staff was pretty shocked too.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and
Yeah.
what's at top of mind for us is making sure that we get this right. You get one chance to have a grand opening and to make a first impression and make sure that this space is everything that it can be for our students. So we decided it's more important not to get it open, but that we take our time and do it right, get feedback from the community, and that's what we're tasked with doing now. For the
It's
next
a
year
major
plus.
change, it's a major change.
Absolutely.
So folks want to have a lot of questions. I guess one of the concerns I've heard is it mandatory? Or is it voluntary?
Right. So every special education parent has the right to send their child there or not.
Okay.
Essentially, it's the same way that you would agree to an IEP or a new program for your child.
Okay.
You, as a parent, always have the right to decide what is best for your child. And that's what I think is so important about this building, is we want our families to be comfortable sending their children there. Right now we have 150 students within special education that we have to send outside of the city of Quincy. And they're longer bus rides.
Right.
It's really difficult to get after-school childcare. And there are a lot of things that go into having a space in a special education program that meets those needs. And parents need to feel comfortable with sending their children there. And that's what getting this community feedback is all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's number one. And,
Right.
maybe make adjustments based on the feedback that you get, right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. That's the job. The job as a school committee member is to listen
Yep.
and make adjustments that meet those needs.
And one of the good ways folks can communicate now is through your brand new website.
Yes, I'm super excited
Yes,
about that.
congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
So that was one of the initiatives that I had promised upon my election, was that we were going to update the website. The city had updated their website a couple of years ago,
Yep.
and the Quincy Public Schools website hadn't been updated since 2011. It's the year I graduated high school.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it had been a while, and we, I think, had been falling behind some of the other districts, not only in the surrounding area like Weymouth and Randolph, but the larger cities, Fall River, Lowell, New Bedford, those areas. They all have new websites as well. So a little over a year ago, we put it out to bid to a few vendors to see what they could bring back, and we ultimately chose School Messenger. They run Cambridge, Whitman-Hanson, and Fall River.
Okay.
They have an incredible breadth of experience, not just with public school websites, but public school websites within Massachusetts.
Right.
So that was really big for us, and of course, cost was also a consideration to make sure that what's the value out of what we're investing in this. So the initial design fee for School Messenger was just under $40,000, and they have an annual fee that equates to roughly $20,000. And included in that, you get a design refresh for free every 3 years. So if the design isn't working right, they'll go in and redesign it again for you.
Okay.
They offer ongoing training for everyone that needs it all the time. That's included in that fee. They have ADA compliance scanning to make sure that every single person is able to read what's on there.
Okay.
And it also includes a search function and a Google Translate function, so that everyone, regardless of what language you speak,
Yes.
can see what's on the website.
Okay.
And in Quincy, I think that's a pretty big deal to
Yeah.
make sure that we have that.
It's been up and running for about a month now, so how has it been received?
So far, so good.
Okay.
I'd say as far as design, the design is very fresh. But one thing I'm looking forward to, outside of the design, I know it looks good, but what's the functionality of it? And I think we're looking at taking things to the next level. So over the next few months, what we're doing is we're tinkering behind the scenes to address some of the concerns that have been raised. But towards the end of the school year, what I'm really looking forward to is we'll have a contact form on there
Yes.
that specifically allows the public to have input into the website and say, this is what we're looking for. I had trouble finding this. Can you fix it? Or wouldn't it be really cool if we could have, X feature on
Okay.
there? So to make sure that not only does it look better, but it's functioning better as well. Because there's a question of, although it looks good, what's the functionality like? What are you actually offering? And will this expand communication?
Right. Can I actually, let my concerns be heard through this vehicle, right? That's
Yes.
the ultimate goal. Can I talk to my student's teacher or principal or somebody on the school committee for
Right.
that matter, right?
Yeah, and that's the goal. It's just about making sure the community has the opportunity to reach out to us in that way.
Sure.
And finds the information that they need effectively and efficiently. That's the goal of a government website.
Mayor's talking about replacing the Squantum Elementary School next.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? Is it needed?
I'd say absolutely. So
Okay.
this is actually, we just approved, the school committee and the city council, our statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority at
Right.
our last meeting. And this is actually the third year in a row that we've submitted this statement of interest. So the building is coming up on its 100-year anniversary. It was built in 1919.
Yeah.
And it hasn't had a major renovation in 49 years when the addition was built.
Yep.
So, and part of the main structures are the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing are all from the original building.
Wow,
We
okay.
have an incredible maintenance staff.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Talk about limping it along. Wow.
It is, and we've had great success with the School Building Authority in the
Yep.
past, with Quincy High School, Central Middle School, and most recently Southwest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those projects total, I mean, Quincy High School, they gave us $72 million. Central was 30, and I believe Southwest was 28 to 29. That's tens of millions of dollars from the state that Quincy taxpayers haven't had to kick in
Right.
in order to ensure that we have the facilities we need. And Squantum has waited a long time for a facility that I think has the 21st century educational components that you need to offer a proper education in today's world.
Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely needed, and that's not to say that there are other needs within the city of Quincy and our buildings. It's just this one is the most pressing. So we'll see how the School Building Authority looks at it. They get about 100 to 125 applications every year,
Sure, yeah.
depending on how much money is in there. Earlier we mentioned the Student Opportunity Act,
Yep.
and because of that, $150 million more is going to that fund
Okay.
this year. So I think Squantum has a really good chance. Usually they like to see one project done at a time in a city, and now that Southwest is done,
Right.
I think Squantum has a very good chance at being selected this year.
Okay, very good. Class size, Anthony, how would you kind of rate it overall in the city right now?
Well, overall, we're adhering to the guidelines
Okay.
that we've agreed to with the Quincy Education Association and our
Yep.
teachers. And in Quincy, we have relatively small class sizes. In last year's budget, we added a few more teachers to make sure that
Yep.
we still had small class sizes. And beyond the class sizes, we also added over 20 paraprofessionals to provide even more support to our teachers within the classroom.
Sure.
You know, a smaller class size is something that can lead to a better education, better test scores, and just an overall better learning environment for students.
And teachers too, for that matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes it easier for them, I'm sure, too. Just because it's timely, we should ask you how the school system is preparing for coronavirus.
Yeah.
And what's being done about that.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are worried, and,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. It makes sense. There's a new virus out there, and you need to be prepared. First of all, I say just make sure you wash your hands.
Same precautions
same
with the flu,
precautions
right?
you should do for everything. Wash your hands, use hot water and soap, sing happy birthday twice.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're looking at having Ruth Jones in at our Wednesday meeting just to review what the city is doing, what our schools are doing, to make sure we're all on the same page. The state has released guidelines and rules for schools and really recommendations that schools should follow this last week. So we're just going to update that and make sure that we're doing what our city health officials are telling us, what our state health officials are telling us, and our national health officials. And right now, Quincy's doing that. Essentially, anyone that has been over to an outbreak area, an outbreak country, should self-quarantine for 2 weeks, notify the nursing staff at the school.
Yeah, it's happening in Weymouth right now. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's worrisome for an understandable reason.
Sure.
But at the same time, it doesn't come from any one particular culture. You just
Right.
make sure you wash your hands.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the big thing. It's
Your
just
mom
like
was right.
She was right.
It's been great to talk to you, and I really look forward to frequent updates, Anthony.
It sounds good to me. Joe,
yeah.
thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks
Thanks.
for coming over. Take a quick break. Be back with more in just a moment. check the weather forecast for you for the rest of the day today. It'll feel like spring out there. Temperatures approaching 70 degrees with lots of sunshine. Tonight dipping down into the upper 40s. For tomorrow, more clouds than sun, maybe a shower tomorrow night, but highs still in the mid 60s and still above normal temperatures here on Wednesday and Thursday as well, staying dry for the rest of the week. Special thanks going out to Anthony Andronico for joining us from the Quincy School Committee. Thank you to our crew and thank you for watching. This Friday at 11:30, members of the Quincy Point Congregational Church will be here on another edition of Currently in Quincy. We will see you then.